I think it's time for the Ian Rapoport Report, brought to you by your local Kia dealers. Visit Kia.com to discover movement that inspires by Total Orthopedics, the experts at getting you back to being you. By Town Fair Tire, nobody beats Town Fair Tire, nobody. And by Collars & Co., makers of the best polos on the planet. Visit collarsandco.com. Ian, you know as well as anybody, because you've been in the middle of the national conversation for a long time, that the Jets are almost always in the middle of the national conversation for the wrong reasons, okay? Firing people, bad draft choices, the butt of jokes, whether it's the butt fumble, the ghost, whatever. For the Jets' ascension to continue, they must win this game. Like, you guys that don't have any connection emotionally to the Jets are taking the Jets seriously. But how do you keep with that energy if they can't beat the Pats?
I mean, I think that's really it. And, you talk about, like, how real are the Jets? Like, and, I think they're pretty real. The quarterback, we'll see. Everything else, I would say, is extremely real. But it all comes down to winning the division. It all comes down to sort of establishing yourself as someone who, when big games happen, you could be taken seriously. People can get behind you. The fan base can get behind you. The Patriots are all of that. And especially this Patriots team, which I would say is fine, but maybe not like some others. I think it's fair to say a little bit more average at some things. And I think the quarterback's been up and down. If the Jets lose, it'll be like, not there yet, which is fine. But
let me stop you. It's not fine. It's not fine because the talent is in the Jets' favor for the first time in a long time. And they let
I think that is true.
Yeah, so it's not fine. I think listen, if they don't win, it's not like the season literally is over. But the symbolism behind a win, it's huge, dude. It's monumental.
Yeah, and I think the symbolism really more than anything, they lose this, they win the next 3 in a row or 2 out of 3, and then you're like, all right, they're still good. But it really is okay, we can now beat the Patriots, which the Patriots know, and you know how much Belichick hates the Jets. So you know that it's going to be all of the things that he possibly can do for this game, which is part of what makes it awesome and fun, and I can't wait for it.
Well, as much as he hates us, I can promise you we hate him more. Batik, before you go, let me just drop this in. So that's why you can't trust things. The Rangers are hosting the All-Star Game in 2024. It's the Texas Rangers. So I wasn't that wasn't like a radio bit. I'm certainly not going to lie about that or something like that, but I just got clarity. It's the Texas Rangers.
The beginning of the end of Twitter happened 2 weeks ago.
Oh, man.
When you think, I know. When you think, BT and I were talking about the East right now. The East, and maybe it's just a function of the mediocrity of the league as a whole, but at the season ended now, all four of the East teams are in the playoffs in the AFC. I mean, what does that tell us about the game? Is it just becoming flatter? Like there's not that many takeoff teams any longer?
I mean, the additional playoff game, I think, changed things. And I don't think it's for the worst, because if you told me that, let's just say instead of playoffs, whatever, it was every team over 500 makes the playoffs. Let's say that was just it. Yeah. I would be like, you know what? That's fine. That is where you want. If a team that's over 500, they at least got a shot. And that's basically sort of what it is now, a little bit different, but sort of what it is. I would say, to me, it's one of the best, maybe the best division in football. That's what this specifically about the East says. The Jets are no joke. Bills are really good. Dolphins are really good. Patriots, I have no idea what they are, but they're always the Patriots, so they're probably going to be in the playoffs. And talk about the Jets and how real they are. This kind of speaks to them being real, because this is their division now. It's not a joke. It's legit. So they've all kind of earned it.
Yeah, no, they definitely have. And again, it's going to ultimately, I think, come down to quarterback play. And that's a Zach Wilson story that's still evolving. The Daniel Jones story I don't think it's gotten clarity, but he has proven that he can win, come from behind, do whatever it takes to win. But the challenge has been the receiving core. Now, we asked you last week about Odell Beckham Jr., and I think your instinct is right. Until he's healthy, we really have, it's a mute conversation. But I don't know if you were at the game or heard about Kenny Golladay was bad. He only had really 2 opportunities, but he didn't really get open. He hit one right in his chest. What can they do with Kenny Golladay?
Well, so theoretically they could waive him. Nobody would claim him and he would be a free agent. I sort of don't know why they would do that, honestly, because what that does is it puts him on the hook for the salary next year. and it just basically means they're paying it anyway. Waiving him makes no sense unless he's going to be a total jerk. And it sounds like, regardless of everything that's happened on the field, inside the locker room, he's been a real pro. I think the main thing to me is just, and this does not really an answer, but just kind of deal with it, get through it, and try sometimes to throw him the ball when he's covered. I think Galladay has thrived as a receiver, not in New York, obviously, but thrived as a receiver when he has made contested catches.
That's a good point.
If you would give him a lie detector test, he would say every time he's covered, he would say, I'm open. That is just what he thinks. So Daniel Jones, if he's going to be productive, which maybe it's just not going to work, which is okay. If he's going to be productive, they have to throw him the ball when he's covered and say, like, go. Like, this is what you're supposed to do. Go catch it. And I still think there is time to turn it around because the Giants are still relevant and he's still on the roster.
Yeah, Ian, you make a very good point because when I went back and watched him in Detroit, a lot of his red zone touchdowns, I think he scored 11 one year. I went and looked at all of them. They were all contested.
He's always covered.
Great contested.
Because he can't run.
Because he's not a great route runner. But all of this they were all contested touchdowns. I mean, it's a good point. I didn't even think about it.
Hold on, guys. Now, Ian, you answer this first, and then Teague, if you want to chime in, obviously. I mean, that's interesting. Just throw it up and big body, go get it. I hear you. But that's not – Daniel Jones doesn't do that. And you also now maybe, I'm just throwing it out there, if he does it once or twice, you get a pick, whatever – you kind of run the risk maybe of a little Daniel Jones regression.
Good point.
I don't know if I want to mess around with that, Ian.
Yeah, Daniel's been very smart with the football this
year. But you're right, and that's why it's been hard. Because getting him, like, if you told Kirk Cousins, hey, dude, just throw it up, you'd be like, Kirk Cousins would be like, cool, I do that all the time. He really does. I mean, he's playing great, and his team is awesome, but, like, he really does throw it up and say, I think Justin Jefferson is going to come down with it, and usually he does. Daniel Jones doesn't do that. No. So there has to be, I think, if this is going to work at all, which, again, it may not, but if it's going to work at all, there has to be some sort of a throw it up, see what happens, and if we turn it over, we will get your back, and that's okay. Otherwise, it's just not going to work, and cancel it and just kind of move on.
All right, we're getting Joe Shane saying he wants Saquon to be here for a long time. Saquon Barkley saying he wants to be here for a long time. We know that there's mutual interest, and it's beneficial for everybody. He's a leader. He's the captain. What is his deal? What kind of deal do you think it's going to look like for Saquon? Because it's not going to be a Christian McCaffrey deal. We know that. Or a Zeke Elliott deal. But it's going to be something. What do we think it's going to look like?
I mean, I think you talk to the agent for Saquon, and she would like it to be up at Christian McCaffrey or near there, right? $15-16 million based on how good he is out of the backfield, 40% of the team's offense, all of that. I think the Giants would probably be, like every team, would probably like to be a little bit under that, more of the Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, 12-13 million per year.
Yeah.
There is room there for a deal. There's plenty of room for a deal. And I would imagine that Saquon would be here next year. That Saquon
on the franchise, regardless.
There's the franchise.
Yeah.
Right. Now you also have Daniel Jones, but you hope you can sort of do one of those deals early, tag the other, and work it out. The franchise tag is basically, I think, 2 years, $27 million. So that's $13.5 million per year if you tag him twice. There's a deal in there somewhere to be done. And if Saquon is going to be this good, then it's all going to be worth it.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, Ian, we've got about, a minute or so. I want to do a broad macro snapshot. Quick hitters, no need to expand. Just give me your answer. Most overrated team right now in the NFL is?
Oh, geez. That's a brutal one to start with.
Bills.
Most overrated.
Could it be the Giants? I mean,
I don't think so. Because everyone knows where the Giants are. I would say, Vikings.
Okay. Most underrated team?
Jets.
Okay. Prominent quarterback you don't expect back with their current team next season?
I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo is probably an easy one.
Okay. Yeah, maybe Brady if he retires, right?
Yeah, I think Brady's probably retiring, yeah.
Okay, and final one. I don't know how much you delve into this. It's obviously college, but the prominent or the most prominent college coach that you think will flirt the most aggressively with jumping to the NFL next season?
I don't think there is one. I think we're good for a couple years. I think Matt Rule and not working probably help that. I think we're good.
And Harbaugh's rolling, so he's not bouncing. All right, man.
Yeah.
I know you have to bounce. Thanks, Ian. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Yep. Most underrated team, the Jets. You heard them.
Yeah, but they're 6-3. They'd be underrated.
Because they should be 8-1. That's why.
No, they shouldn't.